Good morning students. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Lal Bagh Girls Intermediate College. This is Ma'am Spring and this class of mine is for history students for class 12th. Class 12th we have already started with one of the chapter, Rise of Nationalism in India, and the immediate causes or the factors of nationalism was already given in the previous lecture of mine. In continuation with that lecture, I am continuing with the other factors which were responsible for the rise of nationalism in India. We know that the Indian nationalism took birth in the 19th century. The struggle waged by the people of India to liberate themselves from British rule. And it was a result of the rise and the growth of nationalism in India. So Indians were opposed to the British rule from the very beginning of the British conquest, and the social and the religious reform movements and the popular anti-British revolts also contributed a lot to the growth of nationalism. The people of India realized that national independence could be attained through a movement of the people. It was only in the later half of this 19th century that an organized national movement was set up. So various factors which contributed to the growth of nationalism that we are going to discuss today in this lecture. So the very first factor which had contributed to the in promoting of the nationalism was the racial discrimination. What was racial discrimination? This was the policy of discrimination among Indians and Europeans, and which hurt the sentiments of the Indians. The British never mixed up with the Indians. They had their separate areas, clubs, theatre where Indians were not welcomed. All top jobs in the civil or the army were reserved for the British and other Europeans, who often took pride in insulting the Indians. The Arms Act of 1878 was openly discriminatory. This act required Indians to have a license to carry or keep arms, while Europeans could do so without a license. This license was seen as a badge of inferiority for the Indians, who were very upset. It was finally what is referred to as the Albert Wade controversy, which we have already done in our previous class. It was introduced under the Lord Ripon, and it was realized that the Europeans, they were not in favor of giving any favor to Indian judges. So there was an uproar against the passing of this bill in its original form. Finally, the European offenders were given the right to ask for a trial by jury, and half of which would be whites. Whites means the Europeans. This made the Indians realize that under the present setup, even when the Viceroy wanted to help the Indians, he could not. Thus, the only way to get justice would be to change the very setup of British authority in India. Next were the teachings of the English and the Western education. Teachings of English and Western education, they had also played a major role in the rise of nationalism. By learning English, Indians came closer to one another, as English served as a link language in India. Western ideas learned through the works of Rousseau, Garibaldi, enthusiast Indians' mind. The slogan of French Revolution, liberty, equality and fraternity, were learned by Indians. Through Western education, Indians learned how the British themselves treated their cruel monarch. How they hanged Charles I in 1649 as he was very cruel, Indians also came to know that James II had been forced to abdicate his throne in 1688. All this made Indians feel that they also had the right to get rid of their cruel rulers over the Britishers at this time. Many of the reform movements, they had also given rise to the feelings of nationalism among Indians. This period saw a number of reform movements, like Raja Ram Mohan Roy set up the Brahma Samaj in 1828. Swami Vivekanand set up the Ram Krishna Mission in 1897, while Dayanand Saraswati set up the Arya Samaj in 1875. The Theosophical Society was set up by Colonel Olcott and Madame Blavatsky. The unique feature of this movement was that they could not ignore the political aspects of men. All these reformers tried to teach equality and do away with the caste system. E.N. Besant was a co-founder of the Theosophical Society, which was started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. They gave a special attention to women's position in society and their educations. They all tried to instill confidence in the minds of the Indians and make Indians proud of their culture. The political aspect of the life was not at all ignored. That is why Dayanand Saraswati said that India for the Indians. This is in brief what the reformers wanted. Indians to feel that this country is theirs. Around the same time, we have seen that Tayabji worked for the upliftment of women. Then other educated Muslims also spoke up against the Parda system and the polygamy system. So we see both Hindus and Muslims had tried to do away with the evils which had crept in, so as to be ready to face the challenges to the British. Next factor which has contributed to the rise of nationalism is the press and the Indian literature. The press and Indian literature has played a vital role in arousing nationalism. First of all, they informed the Indians about the activities which were going on. By criticizing the wrongdoings of the British, the press kept them on their toes. The press also started a sort of dialogue through letters to the editors. This was important to educate the Indians. The press also openly aroused the spirit of nationalism, as the slogan did, where it was said that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. And the slogan was given by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. And he used the papers Kesari and Maratha to speak the idea of freedom. There was the Vernacular Press Act, which we have already done. For example, Samved, Kamudi in Bengal, Raskoftar in Gujarati, they all were banned by Britishers, and only English press was given freedom to give their expressions. The Times of India, the Pioneer, these were the two main papers which was widely read by the great mass of the people, which was promoted by Lord Lytton. Next was the rise of the middle class. Most revolutions that bring changes in lifestyles are mainly supported by the middle class, and the rich are very happy with the situation as it was existed, while the poor everlasting with very little energy for bringing around large-scale changes. It is usually the middle class who is the backbone of any revolution, and at this time, luckily, India's middle class had expanded. There were many doctors, teachers, lawyers, clerks who clearly understood that it was the British economic policy which was responsible for the Indian climate. They were the ones who went all out to form societies movements to bring around changes in India. The next factor was the introduction of the railways. A network of roads and railways made it was easy for the people to travel from one part of the India to the another part, and soon the people realized the basic unity of Indians. People slowly started thinking of themselves belonging to the country, thus slowly overcoming regional disparities. The fact that a very large part of India had been conquered and was under the British rule meant the same or similar laws in most of the country. This meant there were common problems and common solutions for almost the whole of India, which automatically led to unity among the people. So these were the few factors which were responsible for the rise of nationalism. Many other factors are also there, which we are going to discuss in our next video. So till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you.